Welcome to the Free Game Don D podcast, life, family, and business.
Yes. Listen, we are super, super excited. Free Game Don D podcast has reached 100 subscribers. Yes.
Listen, I think that in life you have to acknowledge all of your small victories because you can build off of that, right? So when it comes to life, you can only build off of wins. You can't build off of failure. So all of your wins have to be acknowledged and celebrated because they're stepping stones, right? So shout out to us, man. 100 subscribers organically. We haven't done anything special. We're just out there putting out content. So guys, please continue to subscribe, share it with your friends, get them to subscribe. We really appreciate it. So wanted to start there.
Yes. Super proud. All right. So today's topic is calling it quits. Okay. So you might be like, Michael, what do you mean calling it quits? Like I said, calling it quits. We've all been in maybe a relationship, a situationship, whatever you want to call it, with whomever, right? And yeah, it started out great, as they always do. The representatives, y'all both meeting each other's representative. And then some real stuff start happening. And you start looking with your eyes a little bigger, like, whoa, yeah. You start checking boxes or unchecking boxes. And you basically get to the point where you're like, I need to plan an escape. Abort, reverse, exit stage left. How did I get here? Right? That's when you've checked out.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I think that happens a whole lot in relationships. Sometimes you're a part of groups, or you're with your friends and people are trying to give you advice, and in your mind you're like, hey, I hear you guys advice, but I've already mentally checked out of this situation, right? Mm-hmm. Because sometimes there's things that have happened and they've caused irreparable damage. Like, that's it, we're done. And so sometimes your friends may see you talking to your significant other some type of way, but they don't know some of the damage that has been caused. And so you've already started to call it quits. You just haven't left yet, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes that's just the case. I mean, and shout out to people who try to keep everybody together. I mean, that sounds like a noble thing to do, but sometimes you don't need to be together, right? Sometimes it's best to not be together because it's just so much damage, right? And we just can't get past it. And it's a tough thing. I think that sometimes I think one of the things that's tough is you don't want to be the one to leave. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to be the one to leave or to break up or call it quits.
You don't want to be the bad guy.
Yeah, you don't want to be the bad guy, right? But somebody has to be the bad guy. Someone has to be the one that says, you know what? This relationship has ran its course. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be that person because I feel like you can be. Because here's the thing. A lot of times in relationships, both parties know that
this ain't working.
It's not working. Because sometimes guys think, well, I don't. This situation has ran its course, but trust me, she feels the same exact way you feel. She's just not gonna say it, right? Or he feels the same way you feel. He's just not gonna say it. But both of you realize that it's ran its course, right? You realize you can't talk to one another. People will say, "Oh, you shouldn't talk to your woman like that, bro. You don't know what I'm unpacking. You shouldn't talk to your guy, your man like that. You don't know what I've dealt with. I'm only sharing with you the stuff that I'm not ashamed to share. There's other things that I've dealt with that I'm ashamed to share. People think that people don't share because they're afraid. No, they don't share because they're ashamed.
Yes.
So they don't share certain things. So you're giving people advice that have gone through things that you don't know anything about. So, and they're just too ashamed to share some of that with you. Mm-hmm. But man, I mean, sometimes, man, it's just time to call it quits, right? It's just too much damage has been done. We can't go back and fix any of this stuff. It's just too much, man. So it's time to call it quits because honestly, we've already called it quits mentally, right? Sometimes every time you see someone that breaks up or divorces or separates physically, they checked out mentally a long time ago.
Sure did.
They had called it quits mentally a long time ago, right? Even though their friends told them to go to counseling and all, and they did this stuff, but it's like counseling was just you and her or you and him attacking each other, right? Because there was just so much there that, we just we can't come to any kind of agreement because there's just so much pain there that, you know, you just can't get past.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I mean, I'm going to say like the old folks say, if my grandmother was alive, she would be probably hit me in the back of the head calling me old. But they say some people are with you for a reason, and then there are others that are with you for a season. Okay. And I feel like that is one of the most powerfulest statements I've ever heard, because it is so true in every aspect of people's lives, relationships, friendships, business-wise, things like that. And you have to learn from those things. But if you're trying to force a situation, you're never really going to truly learn whether you're in this for a reason or for a season, right? So I know, at least if I can speak for the ladies, we be like, oh, but I love him, you know. But honestly, what we need to be saying to ourselves, but do I like him, right? Because like my husband always says, Donald always says, you are commanded to love. The Bible commands us to love. But do you like him? And if the answer is no, baby girl, you need to go. Like, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad about loving yourself first. A lot of times as women, we pour into people expecting to get it back, right? And there's men out there that do the same thing. So I'm not trying to say that men don't pour into women too, and vice versa. But we do these things because we expect that we're going to get the reciprocal, and it's not. And so when it's not, we have to learn to be able to stand up and say, because I love myself so much, I don't care about being the bad guy, because actually I'm the good guy getting out of this bad situation. Wow.
Hey, let me say this too, man, because you spoke about women, because you're right. And I'm going to speak on men. I think that men provide, they do things that they think they should do. And they also think that they don't deserve to be showered with love and respect sometimes because, oh, I'm just doing my job as a man. Yeah. You know, it's all about my wife. No, it's not. Okay, you're in a relationship. That happy wife, happy life is just nonsense, man. You know, I made a joke one time at a speaking engagement that we had. And I brought up happy wife, happy life, and the women started clapping. But I said, happy man is God's plan. And the guys clapped. Hey, man, I mean, listen.
It was crickets. He did that. It was like, great.
It was crickets for the women. But, I mean, the guys understood. I mean, listen, man, this is a two-way street. You as a man, you provide, you handle certain necessities. You know, even if you're not the breadwinner of the household, whatever you're doing your manly duties. And you deserve a certain level of accommodation as well. It's not just about accommodating my wife and everything is going to be great. No, that's absurd. You know, and when you talk about calling it quits, I think that when you get to the point where you don't like that person anymore, that's when you're heading down that path, right? When they're calling, you're like, man, what the hell does she want? You know, what the hell does he want? Like you're noticeably irritated. Yes. That your boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance, husband, wife is calling you, right? You're noticeably irritated, you know, when they want something from you or they want you to do something. Why? Because you don't like that person. We talked about this years ago on a live that we did about the importance of liking, and it struck some folks the wrong way because I told them, I said, listen, like is so important. There's people in my life right now that I love, but I don't like. So if they call me, I may not answer the phone because I don't necessarily like them that much. Right? It's nothing. It's not a bad thing. It's just that people that I like, I'll answer all their phone calls. Right? I'm gonna text them back, so I'm gonna call you right back. Right? So like is very, very, very important. My wife, I like for you. I like you. That's important, man. When you call, I don't ever feel a burden. But I've been in relationships where somebody would call me. I'm like, man, what the? Oh God. You know what I'm saying? It's a burden. Like, why are you calling me? You know what I'm saying? But we're in a relationship though. Yeah. Guys, some of y'all are married to a woman and you are literally just aggravated that she's calling you. You're aggravated that she's asking you to do something. You're aggravated that, you know, she wants you to come home and spend time with her because you don't want to spend time with her because you don't like her. You don't like her, man. That like thing is so important, guys. We're commanded to love. Man, there's people that, like I say, I love a lot of people. They can't ask me for nothing, but I love them, you know, because I have to love them. You know, that's just like the bare minimum to love somebody. But that like thing, that requires for you to, that's a different action, you know, because that's something that you have to give freely. likability. And everybody, you got people in your life, and some of them you're married to. You don't like them, and a lot of times that leads to other things because you don't like this person, man. So I just think that it's important to like who you're with, genuinely like them, and they genuinely like you. But when you don't like each other, it's just really hard. It's really hard to sustain a loving, healthy relationship. So people will tell you, oh, you're using certain language. I don't like this person, man. You don't know this. You don't know this person the way I know them. You've met their representative. You don't know the person that I'm married to, or the person that I'm dating, or my fiance, or whatever. You don't know this person. You think you know this person, so you're telling me, oh, well, you're wrong for talking to her like that, bro. You don't know this person, man. You just see the representative, bro. I mean, like, this person is someone that I do not like for good reason. And if I shared some of the things with you, and we don't share stuff for this reason, because if I share it with you, I'm gonna be forced to take action.
That's right.
So we don't share it because we don't want to take action. Because if I share it with you why I don't like this person, you're gonna tell me, what the hell are you doing in that relationship, girl? Homeboy, what you doing, man? So I can't share it with you, because if I share it with you, you're gonna make me take action, and I don't want to take action because I'm afraid.
Yeah.
So, and then, I'm thinking I'm gonna work through this, but I'm not working through it. So I don't know, man.
I think that's the scariest part of any situation, relationship wise, business wise, is having to take ownership of, the situation. You may not be the problem, but you have to take ownership of the fact that you have agreed to deal with the problem or
Michael,
take on the problem.
Let me cut you off real quick, because I don't think it's just ownership. I think that we keep stuff hidden because, it's about ownership. Because but it starts with us not speaking on it, right? It starts with us not sharing it with people that we call our friends and family members that we actually respect. We don't share it with them, because if we share it with them, we're gonna have to take action. So we're really afraid of taking action. Because once I take ownership and then I tell other people about it, now I got to take action. So I don't want to take action. So in order to avoid action, I'm gonna avoid ownership. Because if I avoid ownership and I own what this person did to me, and I start sharing it with other people, I remember when I got a divorce, man, people were like, man, I thought you guys were gonna be together forever. I was like, bro, I had checked out 5 years before I actually got a divorce. I mean, and so did she. It's all good. I mean, like I said, you think you're the only one checking out in relationships, but it's not. It's the person you're with too. They checked out too, bro. You know what I'm saying? It ain't just you. It's just a matter of someone being willing to just take action. No one wants to take. It's the action that we're afraid of. It's the action. Because now that I've owned it and it's out there, and we've talked to some of our friends about it that we trust, and they've given us some of their advice, which we already know what we need to be doing here. Now I got to take action. Now I got to decide, because you can't heal until you own it all. So I know you talked about ownership. So that is important. But ownership forces you to take action, whether it's action to fix it or action to, cease and desist. Like it's over, but there's got to be some sort of action plan once you own it.
And then not only does it have to be an action plan, as we say, it also has to be a plan of action, which means you come up with it and now you do it. You can't be like, oh, I'm leaving them. But you still in there eating them dinners, you still getting serviced and things like that. So how you going to leave?
Service. I mean, I'm not sure what you're talking
getting
about.
Booty, getting
what?
Whatever. Come on now. We all know that oftentimes when relationships are in trouble, the person that is contributing, I guess, the most to the situation, to the problem, is the first one that then wants to try to lure you back in sexually. That's one of the first easy ways. Let me blind you and distract you with sex. Right? So you have to be stronger than that. And this happens to men more than women. Y'all are weaker than us.
Shout out to men, man.
When it comes to sex.
When it comes to sex with men, when you get to that point, you're like,
you just take it, but it's like, I'm still not staying.
I mean, it's over when you're like, nah, I'm good. When a guy starts turning down your sex, girl, it's over, man.
Yeah, it is.
That's the beginning of the end. He starts, I'm straight. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'll pass on that. You know what I'm saying?
I got a headache.
Yeah, I got a headache now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I got a headache. Nothing hurts a woman more than you turning down her cookies. I mean, so
listen,
I'm good. I don't want any cookies.
Yeah, that'll definitely piss a woman off. Believe you me. But yeah, so you have to put this stuff into action, and so now you're held accountable because other people know what's going on because you've owned what you said is going on. You've made this plan of action, and now you have people that are going to stay on you like, okay, how we going? Where's it going? Wow. What are we doing today? You know, and things like that. So it's hard. I mean, it is hard, but honestly, once you make your mind up, I mean, it just is what it is. You know, I remember a situation. I was engaged to a young man, and who wasn't really that much of a young man. He wasn't a gentleman at all, come to find out. But I found that out later. I didn't know it in the beginning. Anyway, long story short, I pretty much plotted a good 6 months before I left. And it's funny to talk about because it's like, dang, how can you be with somebody, stay regular? Because he had no idea. Like, when I left, I just left, right? And how can you do that and just be gone? But I had tapped out. My only reason for being with this person, because of course we all have these reasons why, we need to try to work it out. We need to stay. For this particular individual, he had a child, and I was very close to the child. He didn't have custody, but I would see the child every weekend. So I felt like if I left, I'm leaving the child, you know? And it just got to the point where it got so out of control that I was just like, I have to leave. Like, I'll figure it out later. And for 6 months, I plotted. It was wonderful. I was so proud of myself, you know.
Who says this, Mike? It's amazing how happy you can become once you know you have an exit strategy.
Yeah, and here's the thing: I really didn't know what my exit strategy was. I just knew I had to get out,
right?
Because the next level of horribleness that was going to happen was probably going to be something that I would not have been able to return from. Like it was bad.
Gotcha.
So I mean, people. You're stronger than what you think you are, right? Of course, society and the television shows, and everybody's going to tell you, if you have issues, y'all need to work them out. You need to stick together. You know, if you have children, you need to stick together. And I understand when it comes to children, why? Because it does affect them. But also seeing all that negativity and just volatility and ugliness, that affects them too, you know? So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. You actually have to know what's best for you, and even more so, what would be better for them.
Yeah, that's a hard one, because there's people right now that are probably watching this. They're married, they got children. It's not working out, and they're telling themselves, "I'm staying for the kids."
Yeah.
You know, I asked a group of men a question on a call the other day, and I said, "Listen, some of you that are having these troublesome relationships, ask yourself that if you did not have children with your wife or boyfriend, fiance, whatever the situation is, would you still be with them?" And that lets you know whether or not you've already checked out, or you will check out, or you're checking out. When you start asking yourself the question that, man, would I still be with this woman if we didn't have children? You know, and for a lot of folks that have troublesome relationships, the answer is no. We didn't have these kids, I'd have been gone.
Yeah. And
that's a tough thing to admit, but that's when you know that you're tapping out. Like, let me try this exercise that Donald and Michael talked about. If I didn't have kids by my wife, would I still be here? Or the wife, if I didn't have children with my husband, or let's say he's the breadwinner, if he wasn't the breadwinner and I could take care of myself, would I still be with this guy? Probably not, right? And that's a tough thing to own, you know. But I think that's, because sometimes we say, "Oh, I'm staying for the kids," and then you realize you got to leave for the kids because, like, you're their first example of what love looks like. It's mommy and daddy arguing all the time. So now you're wondering why a lot of kids are out here just doing their thing. You know, they've seen a lot of bad relationships, right? They've seen a lot of bad situations. A lot of husband and wives, a lot of people have gotten married and put the kids first, which is the first mistake that married couples make. I'm gonna put the kids first. And then we forget to love each other. So now we're raising kids up in a very toxic, volatile situation because, they have no idea how to be married and have a fruitful relationship because they've seen mom and dad put them first. When mom and dad should have put each other first. So then they take that and they get married and do the same exact thing. You're teaching them, bad qualities when it comes to relationships and marriage because you're teaching them to put the child first. And that's not a recipe for success. And they're duplicating what they saw you do. They're duplicating a man and a woman staying in a relationship for children, but then you're raising children up in a very toxic environment that they don't get a chance to see love. But if you put each other first and love each other, then they get to see the true dynamic of what it takes to run a successful household and to be in a successful partnership, not a marriage, but a partnership. Yeah. This is the first time I've never had a partnership before, and until me and you got married, and that's a hard thing for a lot of folks to understand. Like it's a difference between being married and being in a partnership. These are two separate things. And when you're in a partnership, you understand, the long-term effects of every single thing you're doing in this relationship, right? And you understand that someone's always watching, and the people that are always watching are your children. So your children are always watching, and they're looking to you to show them what love looks like. They're looking to you to show them how to move in a relationship. So I think it's just very important to understand that when you're married, you're in a partnership, and you want to have a partnership with your spouse, and you guys want to move as a unit, and you want to show them that, mommy and daddy come first. Because you want them to be able to duplicate that. Because if they can't duplicate that, they won't be in relationships long. Because, they'll mess around and have kids and they'll think, well, kids come first. And here's the thing about husband and a wife. If they truly are on the same page and they have a true partnership, the kids are going to come first by default, But you understand putting husband and wife first is essentially putting the children first. Right? Because you're giving them the most healthiest environment possible and giving them an opportunity to see what a healthy relationship looks like. So sometimes you stay for the kids and then sometimes you have to leave for the kids. I think that's the hardest thing for people to understand. Sometimes you have to leave for the kids, because of what they're seeing and what they're experiencing. And so, that thing that kept you there is the thing that forces you to leave because you realize that you're setting a horrible example as a wife or as a husband and a wife. But I just think that it's just one of those things where like, who is going to be the one to admit and own and take action on this not working out? Because whoever takes action first is going to be the bad guy. Unless you both are mature enough to just own it and say, this ain't working.
And that usually does not happen.
That usually doesn't happen.
No, it's usually because it's easier, especially if you have children. I don't have any children, but I like the situation I told you all about. Well, when I left, he told the child that I left the child. That was the reason why I left. Yeah. I left because of the child.
Yeah. I mean, that's what's going to happen. It happens to guys all the time. And, they realize something isn't working and they're like, oh, your dad left us. Really? Come on, man. Come on. But see, good parents don't get kids involved in that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
That's what bad parents do. Bad parents try to make children choose sides and tell them things about their dad or their mom, negative things. And the good parents don't do that. They understand the long game. And there's a long game with children, and I don't think a lot of parents think about that long game. It's like it's your biggest investment. Your children are your biggest investment. And all of your decisions with them have to be long-term decisions. What they see, what you decide that they see and don't see affects them long-term. Yeah. Big time. So listen,
that's so true.
We've both been affected by things that that we've saw or didn't see, and so and the same thing goes for our children. I mean, so we have to be mindful of what they're seeing and what they're digesting, because at some point, they're going to duplicate some of these things, and we're going to be responsible for these things, right? So sometimes you stay for the children, but sometimes it's best that you leave so that the children can see what a healthy relationship looks like.
Yeah, that's so true. Because my parents, they were not married, but I got to see all the shenanigans of my mother and my father. Okay, so imagine as a young lady trying to grow up and figure things out in life, and I know all the dirt that my father has done and all the dirt that my mother has done, and I'm trying to figure out how to be a loyal and good girlfriend and pick a guy that's going to be loyal and great to me. And of course, you're not going to do that because you gravitate to what is familiar. Right? You gravitate to what's familiar, especially in your growth journey of becoming a young lady to a woman that now knows what she wants and needs in life. And so I gravitated to the negative a lot. You know,
listen, I think guys do it too now. I mean, guys, they gravitate. You see these guys that, you see these guys in their late 30s, 40s, 50s, they still out here being a player. Listen, man. That's childhood trauma. They're not going to admit it. They're going to be, Don, you're wrong. No, it's childhood trauma, bro. You've seen a lot of things that you just didn't know what you were watching, and it affected you. And, you just got some childhood trauma. You've seen your mom do certain things that she probably shouldn't have been doing. And you just, I don't trust women, or you've seen your dad do certain things, and, this is how I'm going to move, man. But I just think that there's some trauma there that has to be unpacked. That's why I say, man, in a relationship, especially a marriage, I mean, husband and wife have to come first. You have to be able to show these children what this looks like, because if you don't, you end up with, children who can't settle down, children who just want to go from woman to woman or man to man. They're all over the place. They can't really stay still. I mean, because they've never seen stability. They've never seen stability. Their mom has never been in a stable relationship, and they didn't have their father around. And if the father was there, maybe the father has never been in a stable relationship.
Exactly.
So all they've seen is instability their entire life. So that's the trauma. And here's the thing: sometimes you can see stability and still be unstable, and still. And still be saddled with some trauma, because sometimes you see a husband and a wife stay together for a long time and for decades, and you see a lot of things go on, and then you think, okay, well, it's a badge of honor to stay together just with all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not. Maybe sometimes it is, but I just think that when you talk about calling it quits, I think that when you start to lose who you are, when you start to lose yourself, and you're giving everything that you don't have to try to make someone else happy, you're on that road to calling it quits. I mean, it's just only a matter of time, because you're going to come to realize that you can't make someone happy. Happiness is a choice. So if you're married to a woman and she's not happy, you can't make her happy. You can have temporary moments of happiness. Oh, I got you a brand new car. Temporarily, she's happy. He's happy. But you can't buy that. If they don't love themselves, if they're not happy with themselves, they're never going to be happy or love you.
That's right.
And they're certainly not going to like you. So that's going to be a huge problem. So, and at some point you're going to realize, man, I'm losing who I am. And listen, the only thing worse than being in a bad relationship for one day is being in 2 days. So the sooner you get out of these situations and just come to the conclusion that, hey, this is just not going to work. We've tried everything, and we're still we don't respect one another. We can't communicate, and we're teaching the children a lot of bad things. And to protect the children, I think we're going to have to call it quits. Yeah. Have that grown up conversation and talk to some of your friends. Here's the thing. Some of your friends know. Some of your friends are going through the same thing you're going to. They just, so they haven't. I saw you over there shaking your head. Like, don't tell your friends, but you gotta have.
I already told you the story about. But you gotta. That was trying to help me before.
No, you did. But I look back on my life. There were some friends of mine that I could have shared. I definitely had at least one that I could have talked to, but I knew what he was going to say. He was going to tell me, man, what the world, bro? What you doing, man?
He was going to hold you accountable. You wasn't ready.
He was going to hold me accountable, man.
Yes.
And I didn't want to be held accountable, man. And that's that thing, man. We don't share stuff. It ain't because we're scared, it's because we're ashamed and we don't want to be held accountable. Because our real friends are going to tell us, like you said, your friend a long time ago was like, girl, you should stay there. But now your real friend gonna be like, girl, you don't get out of there. But you didn't want to get out of there. You didn't want to get out of there. Well, maybe in your case you kind of did. I don't know, but
I did. No, I needed her to be like, all I needed her to do is say, girl, for real? That's what's going on? Girl, pack your bag. Let's go. You got to get out of here. That's the first step. Come on. But she was like, girl, that's it? I'm like, that's it. You know, that's the Everybody Argues podcast.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we go into that thing then. Yeah. Because like we're quick to say, well, you know, everybody. Oh my God, guys! When you guys are in a relationship right now, and you're telling yourself everybody argues, everybody fights, all men cheat. Oh my God, that is the anthem for women who are dealing with cheaters. All men cheat. All men don't cheat, baby. Just your man is cheating. Just deal with your man.
Just your man.
Your
baby.
man is cheating. I'm not saying just your man, but I'm saying your man is cheating. Deal with your man, because sometimes we bring other people in it. To
make us feel better.
Make us feel better. To give us
that we're not alone.
To give us some consolement. It's not just me, you know. And so that forces you not to deal with just me. You need to deal with just me, okay? Because just me is in a situation. So
yes, but
we don't want to deal with just me. So we say it's not just me. I don't understand why we think that saying it's not just me lets us off the hook from dealing with our own stuff. I don't understand that.
It really doesn't.
But I used to do that though.
So
I used to do it. So I mean, so let me take that back. I guess I overstand. I was like, man, I'm not trying to leave, man. I got kids. I'm worried about what it's going to see. Men are staying sometimes because they're worried about the financial ramifications of them leaving. Listen.
Well, you know, they always say it's cheaper to keep her. That's the saying, but honestly, it's not.
That's a lie. You know,
it costs you a whole lot more.
Listen, man, there's nothing that is more valuable than peace. Peace of mind, knowing that I can come home every day and to peace, you know. So sometimes peace costs. And listen, I'll pay the cost. Big Dog has no problem writing the check for peace. That check will get wrote.
Oh my God, Big Dog, right?
That's right, Big Dog.
Big Dog. No, but I mean, this is so true. I mean, so definitely don't get this confused as we're saying, you know, run at the first sign of things not working right. We're saying do your due diligence, you know, try. If counseling is what's needed, do it. But once you realize that certain things are just not working, or you're more into resolving the situation than the other person, that's when you have to do a personal inventory of, okay, this is where I am in life now. If it stays the way that it's going, what is this going to look like? If I choose to start doing stuff and following my mind instead of what my heart is telling me because I love this person so much, where am I going to be? And you should always choose you. Always, or if it's children involved, always choose your children in terms of what's going to be best for them. And I feel like as women, sometimes we get put in a little box because sometimes men will come along and they will give you all this razzle dazzle and look, this is what I can do for you. You don't have to work. I'm gonna tell you something. I had a man tell me I didn't have to work and I cut him right then and there. Okay? Because what do you mean I don't have to work? If I don't work, then that means I have to ask you for everything. And you have the right to tell me no. You have the right to tell me how I'm moving and stuff because I'm not doing anything. I'm dependent upon you. And I'm supposed to be excited about that. Hell, I was like, no, we was right there at the dinner table. He was like, you know, if you was with me, you would never have to work. Check, please. That's a red flag for me just right there. Like, no, you trying to make me a slave. That's how I feel. You trying to enslave me, sir. And this is not happening, sir.
Low-key slavery.
Yeah, low-key slavery. No, not happening. No. But I say all that, and we have to add jokes to this because this is a sad situation for some. I know that we are probably, somebody is watching this and they are sitting here trying to figure it out in their head now. What is it that I do? But you got to choose yourself. That's the most important part. If you choose yourself, you think with your mind, not with your heart. Don't worry about what other people have to say. Take pride aside. I don't care if people talk about me. I don't care if people say something negative about me. I don't care if people know my business. I've got to do what I've got to do to protect myself and my children.
And let me say this, Michael, because when you say protect yourself, when people don't understand, when you say protect yourself, it's like you want to present the best image possible for your children.
Yes.
And you may know being in this relationship with this woman or with this man, does not put you in the best light when it comes to your children, because you can't be your best self. Sometimes you have to leave so you can be your best self for your children, right? Sometimes you have to leave so you can be your best self for your children, right? I mean, and so when we talk about, doing it for yourself, it's because you realize that I'm not myself. I'm not who I was designed to be, and I can't be the father. I can't be the mother that I need to be as long as I'm in this situation. And so sometimes we have to get out of these situations so we can be our best self for the people that matter the most. And that's the people that are watching us for duplication.
Yeah.
So when you have children, I think it's even more important to not stay in really bad or toxic situations. Certainly wouldn't encourage anyone to get a divorce or anything like that, but would encourage people to seriously, try to work on their marriage and counseling. I know yesterday I encouraged some guys to read The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. That's a book that we read before we got married. So I always encourage couples when they're dating and they're seriously thinking about marriage, read The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman, because what happens in relationships is that you start trying to, invoke your love languages onto your wife, or your wife starts invoking her love languages onto you. No, my love language is my love language. Yours is yours. And so, and we need to, love each other accordingly, but these things have to be talked about and, talked about and gone over before you get married, because a lot of times we get into situations and we're like, oh my God, this isn't working out. Well, if you would have talked about a lot of this stuff prior to getting married, then you would have realized that it wasn't going to work out.
Exactly.
Right? Exactly. You would have realized, man, this is not the person for me, man, because we talked about a lot of things, and I realized, nah, this is not going to work. There's some things that we talked about that are just non-negotiables. So yeah. So guys, listen, this is going to conclude the episode of Callin' It Quits. Guys, please continue to subscribe. Please continue to share the video with other people.
Please do. We're definitely trying to touch as many lives as possible, because, listen, we have come to realize in situations we are not alone.
Yes.
It's not just us. So definitely, please like, please subscribe, please share, and let's get this information out there and help as many people as we can. And also put smiles on people's faces, We kind of funny. But yeah.
All right, y'all.